What's happening, hot stuff?
Are you familiar with this line? What kinds of emotions or feelings do you get? Does it make you smile in amusement, or does it make you cringe in discomfort? From the hit 80s movie 16 Candles, this character's name is Long Duck Dong. He is goofy, awkward, and physically very small. These features are only accentuated by his American girlfriend, Marlene, who is called a lumberjack due to her masculine features and traits. Long Duck Dong is a literal walking stereotype for Asian men in America, and with a comically timed gong noise in the background, he is the butt of all jokes. So why spend time analyzing movies such as this? Because whether you realize it or not, you've probably witnessed the feminization of Asian men throughout the media and US history.
What you doing in Hop Sing kitchen?
I just brung your knife back, Hop Sing.
16 Candles stands as one, but unfortunately not the only example of this trend. Through watching movies or TV shows, you're probably already familiar with pre-existing stereotypes surrounding Asian men. Stereotypes that box Asian men into a wimpy nerd character, or an evil villain role, or some sort of Bruce Lee type trope. While these are important to look at and analyze, in this video I want to specifically tackle the emasculation of Asian men in Hollywood filmmaking. But before this, I want to go back a bit. Back to around the late 1800s. During this time, economic depression and collapsing stock markets plagued America. As a way to combat monopolies and capitalist businesses, white workers appealed for higher wages. However, instead of giving in to these demands, capitalists turned to Chinese laborers who were willing to work for way less and do the same quality of work. Here we see a start to anti-Chinese sentiment in America. In an attempt to diffuse these rising tensions, Congress passed exclusionary legislation that limited the jobs that Asians could have in America. Chinese men were banned from factory jobs and other occupations that were to be considered white men's work, and therefore were forced into jobs that were devalued in American society. By being forced into what was considered traditionally women's work, it is at this point that people are beginning to see Asian males as feminine and therefore as less of an overall threat. Now, to bring things back to Hollywood. In 1930, the Motion Picture Production Code was adopted as a way to protect morals of the film industry. The code stated that miscegenation in movies was undesirable. So, that being said, interracial sex between an Asian male and a white female was only allowed on screen if the Asian character was a white man in cosmetics. However, interracial sex was allowed if it was between a white male and Asian female. This reinforced the stereotype that Asian women needed to be saved and controlled by white men because Asian men were incapable of doing so. In the 1961 film Breakfast at Tiffany's, we see another racist and quite ridiculous depiction of a Japanese man. The Asian landlord, Mr. Yuniyoshi, is played by the 5'2" white male Mickey Rooney, and this character is anything but flattering. For starters, he has taped eyelids, buck teeth, and a thick accent. Personality-wise, he is depicted as very hot-tempered and irritable. All of these in combination work to depict Asian men in a satirical light, presenting them as ineligible bachelors. So, why does any of this matter? Because these shallow screen portrayals actually impact the way Asian Americans are recognized and perceived in the real world, shaping and constructing their identities.
Well, my nickname was Long Duck Dong in high school because of that character, and I think every Asian guy that ever went to an American school's nickname was Long Duck Dong because of that character. That means that you're not going to get any girls.
Film has such a profound impact on our perceptions of people and the world around us. Through increased education and awareness, we can already begin to see changes in the trends I have discussed earlier. While we may not be there quite yet, small advances make me optimistic for large changes to come.